Welcome back to Man vs. Meeple, the show where we talk about everything board game related. Today we're going to be talking about Dream Home from Rebel Games in conjunction with Asmodee. It is a hand management style game in which you're going to be placing rooms into a home and building out your dream home, David.
Right. It's got, you know what? This has got that sort of Sims sort of vibe to me. It
looks
really
very Sims-like.
It feels almost like a tabletop version of The Sims in a way. You're not really doing much with people, but it's all about building rooms, decorating your house. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool set collection.
So it is a 2 to 4 player game, and it plays very quickly in about 30 minutes, ages 7 and up. Each player is going to start with their own home, and on that home there are 12 empty spots in which you'll be placing rooms throughout the course of the game.
Right.
So those 12 spots indicate the 12 rounds of the game. Each turn you're going to be taking a new room and placing it somewhere on your board. Now, there are 2 main floors, and then there is a garage area or a below deck area in which you can place things like, garages or basement areas in your home. So the game has 2 decks of cards. You have a decor deck, which is located here on the main board, and then you have a room deck.
Yeah, and the room decks are pretty self-explanatory.
Sure.
I mean, the basic rooms are the bedrooms, living rooms, kitchens, bathrooms. But then there's also some unique rooms. We have the dressing room here. Not everyone has a dressing room in their house, but you can if in this game.
Right.
And then on the top, we have the decor, right?
Right. So the decor deck consists of your helpers, which don't play on your main board. They'll help you either with in-game scoring, or they'll help you do special functions throughout the game.
Yeah, some kind of cool, unique one-time actions and things like that.
You also have tools that some of the tools will play in your house and will be placed over, like scaffolding, and then there's tools that will allow you to kind of change the turn order or rearrange your house, depending on which tool it is. And then also in the decor deck, you have roofing.
Right.
So you'll be collecting roofing for your house that doesn't play on your main board, but it goes face down on your board. Kind of a unique kind of way the game is played, too. Once you take one of those roofing cards, you can't look at it again until the end of the game.
Right.
So it's kind of a set collection style thing you're doing.
A rule I broke in our first play.
That's okay. That's okay. You also have tokens. These are decor tokens, which correspond to the decor deck. There are several of these tokens. I believe there's 10 of them. These will typically be played on top of rooms, which will give them a little special touch. You can put like a hot tub into a bathroom, or a nice bedroom suite into a bedroom. There's also some tiles that will be placed outside the home.
Like the treehouse.
Like the treehouse, which all those tiles are worth victory points, which are located not only on the card themselves when you collect them, but also on the tile. So you're reminded of how many points it is worth. So a turn structure works like this. You'll pick a first player to start the game. You're going to seed the board with 4 decor cards face up and 5 room cards. And the reason for that is because this top marker doesn't get filled with the decor. It gets filled with the first player marker.
Right. And what's interesting here, and we haven't talked about this yet, is when you're taking your turn and choosing your card, you're not just taking one card.
Right.
You're taking a whole column, so you're going to get a room and a decor card, unless, like Jeremy said, you take from this first column that gets you the first player marker, which can be important when you're playing a set collection game.
That's right.
First player is not a bad thing to have.
That's right. So in turn order, players are going to pick from one of these columns, taking both the decor on the top and the room on the bottom. Now, there's some rules for the rooms that you can take and place on your board. The rooms have to have a structure below it in order to play. So the first rule is that when you take a card, it has to have something physically below it. And there's only 5 spots on the board that you can physically place in the first turn. There's the 3 structures here, and then there's the 2 garage spaces.
Right.
And what that means typically is that in order to build, for instance, I have a library here. In order to build above it, I have to have something below it.
Exactly.
Right. So the rooms, the second rule is that you can't expand a room unless it can physically be expanded. On all of these room cards, you have numbers, which are victory points that card is worth. So, for instance, this is a 1-room bathroom that's just worth 1 point at the end of the game, right?
Right.
This is a garage, and if I have 1 garage, it's worth 0 points. However, if I have 2 garages that I place side by side, the whole garage room, which is both these together, is worth 4 points total, not 4 for each card.
Right. And therein lies the set collection, on some level anyway, are the rooms themselves.
Right. So when you place a room, so for instance, this kitchen, I would have to place another kitchen beside it to get 6 points, but I can't play a third kitchen beside that because this room would be considered finished.
Right.
Right. Also, if you ever place a decor tile on top of something, that also finishes the room. So, for instance, if I place this one kitchen in my home, I would get the 1 point, and if I finish it with a decor, I couldn't place the second card there because the decor would finish out that room.
And likewise, if you have a 2-room kitchen with those cards, you couldn't place the decor token on it.
That's right.
Right.
So you're going to go round and round, taking these items and either using the decor on the top. If it's a roof tile, you place it face down off your board. If it's a helper tile, you could possibly use it then. You could possibly use it in the future. It could be an in-game score. It could be a tool that you'll use later. And you're going to place the room. If you can't place the room, here's the third rule. You can actually take the card. So say, for instance, my garage was full, and this is the card I had to take, simply for the fact that it had maybe a good decor item with it that I wanted. You can actually turn it over, and it becomes an empty room, which is worth 0 points. But that'll be a structure that you could build on top of.
Right.
And it'll also separate a room. So if you built a kitchen over here, you could build another kitchen over here if you so wish. So that's placing rooms. And like we said, you're going to go around 12 times because there's 12 rounds in the game and there's 12 spots on the board. And then you're going to calculate your points.
Yeah, the points, I mean, in addition to the ones that are on the cards, obviously, after that is when the sort of set collection comes in with the roof tiles as well.
Right.
So you're going to flip over your roof tiles, and there's some scoring where you have to have 4 roof tiles to score for them. And if they're all the same color, you'll get bonus points.
Right. And if there's some of them that have dormers on the top too, which are little windows.
Right.
And if you have one of those on, you get an extra point.
Right.
Right.
And then finally, there's some home functionality scoring.
Right.
Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, the home functionality is if you have a bathroom on the first and second floor, you get 3 points total.
Like any good house.
Yeah. And if you have a bathroom, a kitchen, and a bedroom,
Right.
you get 3 points anywhere in your home. And then you're going to tally up all your rooms as well and any of your in-game scoring and all of your decor items.
Yeah.
Whoever has the most points wins.
Yeah, and we found that scoring is pretty tight, which always makes for a good, fun game. I think our first game, 2 of us had 37 points, so we were tied, which we'll get to the tiebreaker in a second because it is very cool. And then the other person was just a few points behind.
I was at 32.
Yeah, so it was really tight. Now, the tiebreaker is really cool.
It's right here. Look at this.
There's a little kid... There's children in some of the rooms, which we didn't even notice until we got to the end of our first game. 2 of us were tied. We had to look it up. So we saw that for basically whoever has the most children in their house, they win the tiebreaker. So you have to go around in a Where's Waldo sort of way and kind of like look for them. Yeah, they're hidden because there's feet sticking out of bathtubs or kids hidden underneath beds. Some kids like that one that we saw a little more clearly.
It's a fascinating way to do a tiebreaker.
It really was a fun way.
Very unique, right? You know what? I'll say right now, and I'll be in public and say that I'm a huge HGTV fan. I watch it with my family. My daughter loves it. She's 9 years old. I showed her this game yesterday, and she got ecstatic about it. She wants to play it. This really, I think this can appeal to everybody. It's got strategy in it for the fact that you have to stack your tiles above or your cards above other cards. There's strategy on the cards that you take, but it also appeals to a much younger audience as well because the artwork is, like you said, so Sims-like. The artwork is very, very fanciful and fun.
Well, and that concept too of you're building a house.
Right.
I mean, it's like any kid who'd like to build something with Legos or have a dollhouse or anything like that.
Right.
I think we all have that in ourselves to want to build something. So it's a really, really beautiful way of doing that.
Yeah. And it's rife for expansions, too. I mean, they could take this in a lot of different directions.
I hope they do. I really hope they do.
So go check it out, guys. That is Dream Home from Rebel and Asmodee. Coming out very soon, I believe in just another week from now.
Very, very soon.
And make sure you guys make comments below on this YouTube channel. Please subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook.
Yes, please.
And catch us next time on Man vs. Meeple.
Bye-bye.
Season 1 of Man vs. Meeple is sponsored by TMG Games, publisher of great games like Yokohama, Guilds of London, and the soon-to-be-released Colosseum.